mother whose 3-year-old had got shot in the fucking head. I don't want to hear that crime rates are already declining shit from the Democratic leader. So, just to add some context, my brother here reached out to me. He said, "Hey, bro, I want to hear your comments on the National Guard deployment to D.C. by Trump. As a man, according to him, who's lost 13 friends to street violence, I like what he's doing." So, this is what I will say. And I am well aware that the National Guard, there's threat to send them to Chicago as well as other cities. I'm going to say this. Two things can be true. Whether it's D.C., whether it's Chicago, or other cities that might have Democratic leadership that Trump is ironically targeting, it can be true that in all these cities, crime rate, homicide rates were already on the decline compared to the 80s and 90s. We can 100% say that the homicide rates were on the decline in these cities, right? But we can also say at the same time that the crime rates in these cities is out of fucking control. We can also say that if I was one of the mothers of a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, they got shot in the fucking head while sitting in the car, like that situation 2 months ago in D.C. with that little child who got shot, sitting in his mama's car, just waiting for her to come back outside. I wouldn't want to hear that crime rates are already on the decline bullshit from Democratic leaders. I wouldn't want to hear that. I understand what they're saying, but I just wouldn't want to hear that shit. With the National Guard deployment, what I do not like about that for me personally, I didn't like the motivating factor behind it in the DC situation, which was, you guessed it, that boy getting robbed, trying to stop that robbery, that Doge worker, that government worker. That was what stemmed the whole thing, was that government worker getting assaulted by those group of hoodlums out there in DC. It wasn't the numerous kids that have gotten shot and killed. It wasn't that 15-year-old that got shot outside of an apartment complex 3 months ago in DC. It was the government worker getting his ass whooped. But at the end of the day, whatever gets the job started, gets the job started. Democratic leaders will always lose the fight when they act like, hey, nothing's going on. This is when we get to a conversation about what the governor of Illinois is saying, or we get to a conversation with the mayor of Chicago is talking about. Two things can be true. You can be doing your job, crime rates can be dropping, but at the same time, you do have to acknowledge that shit is out of fucking control. I follow the Goofies of Chicago page on X, and let me tell you, when you see some of the shit that's going on in that city, you would almost think Chicago is a damn near third world city.